The Huge Benefits of Colonization, narrated by Geraint Thomas, Swansea, Wales, UK. In the year 1840 New Zealand became a dependency of the British Crown, which brought with it many advantages, gladly welcomed by Maori. Today in 2024, Maori are ethnologically extinct. No full-blooded or half-blooded Maori exist. This particular type of race suicide was not caused by the colonizers, but by the preference of Maori to breed with Europeans, rather than with each other. Today, many Maori are visually pale-skinned people with only 1/8 or 1/16 Maori blood in them. Maori are in fact Europeans, with a minority of Maori blood in them. From 1840 to 2024 Maori went through an amazing transformation with major advancements in such a short period of time. This new way of life should give Maori cause for pride and all New Zealanders something to celebrate. Early Europeans misjudged the age of Maori, as their toothless state made them appear much older than they were. Needless to say, colonization brought great dental care to New Zealand. As more and more Europeans arrived, they brought with them their cows and sheep, pigs and poultry, milk and cream, fruit trees and honeybees. Colonization introduced a much healthier and varied diet to Maori, who also learned how to grind and mill flour from grain. This new, and much healthier diet, which also included the meat of animals instead of people, has been of immeasurable value to Maori and their descendants, having improved their life expectancy from around 30 years of age to over 70 years of age today. With the coming of European traders, Maori were able to purchase warm woolen clothing as well as a plethora of headwear and footwear, waterproof coats and jackets. Indeed, European clothing was most welcome amongst all Maori, who suffered greatly from arthritis caused by their poor pre-European light flax clothing. From so many angles, from articles of clothing to watches and sewing machines, colonization was a very big plus for Maori. In fact, wearing a pocket watch rather than a string of teeth from an eaten enemy, also gave Maori the ability to tell the time. Rather than huts built out of sticks and reeds, and floors covered with dry grass, the colonists introduced woolen carpets, furniture, wooden bungalows with windows and curtains, and the wonderful invention of electricity, which changed the lives of all Maori. Light at all times of the day and night, heating and cooling, refrigeration and cooking. No longer did Maori have to live in dark, smoky, unfinished huts, due to the wonderful housing improvements taught to them by the colonists. Before the Europeans arrived, Maori had to walk through the bush in their bare feet, breaking off twigs and branches with their hands as they went, so as to make or maintain tracks. These tracks were not fit for purpose when the colonizers arrived, so they went about building roads for pedestrians and horses, later widened to take bullocks and carts. They built bridges, tunnels and viaducts right across the country, turning New Zealand into a well-serviced nation. Maori embraced these changes, which brought them greater ease and comfort getting from place to place, with horses, carts, trains, passenger liners and motor cars, a far cry from picking their way through the bush with bare or knee feet. Colonization allowed Maori to travel all over the country without the fear of being killed and eaten on their journey. Pre-European Maori had a primitive, unhealthy system of hygiene and toilets in their villages, which were crawling with live rats and vermin. Houses and people were filthy. Washing their clothes never seemed to enter their heads. Today, Maori can wash their bodies with soap and their hair with shampoo, which is a substantial benefit of colonization. Every aspect of Maori health improved after colonization, especially with the introduction of Western medicines and healthier diets, resulting in Maori life expectancy soaring from around 30 years of age in pre-European days, to over 70 years of age today. In essence, the colonists introduced much better health care all round, including dentistry and eye care. The co-leader of Te Pāti Maori, Waitangi, continually rants and raves against colonization and its effects, yet he benefits greatly from colonization at every possible turn, thus making himself an object of ridicule and hypocrisy. Slavery was an integral part of Maori society prior to colonization. Male slaves taken from the losing side in a battle were expected to fight for the tribe that enslaved him. Slaves that had not been released by 1840, then the Treaty of Waitangi did the deed for them. Not only free in their movements, the slaves had a choice of employment and were free from the ever-present fear of being eaten by their captors. Colonization put an end to Maori slavery. Maori women were burdened with all the heavy work. They had to cultivate the fields, carry wood and provisions, and bear heavy loads during their traveling excursions. Men would not degrade themselves by carrying provisions on their backs. Colonization rescued women from their degraded state, and so for the first time in the history of Maoridom, women attained the dignity and rights that were due to them as human beings. The early days for Maori children could be perilous and painful. Noses were flattened, knee joints rubbed down, female children had the first joint of their thumb bent outwards, and earlobes pierced with a sharp-pointed stone for the sake of wearing ornaments. If there was mental damage that lasts down the generations, it was because of this brutalizing nature of Maori society towards children, conditions that were mercifully rescued by colonization. Before the introduction of English law in 1840, the life of a female Maori baby was not by any means secure. Infanticide was frequent, and in many cases as the result of jealousy. A male child was seldom sacrificed because of his future value as a warrior. Colonization ended the brutality of Maori society towards babies with the introduction of British law in 1840. By far the most horrible aspect of traditional Maori life was cannibalism. It was a stain on humanity itself. Cannibalism, which is as degrading as humans can go, was a major driving force in pre-colonization Maori life, and was often the motive for warfare. Innocent Maori were rescued from cannibalism by the colonists, with the introduction of Christianity and British law. If colonization had imparted nothing but the ending of cannibalism, then that would be full justification for colonization alone. Before 1840, any tribe could be deprived of whatever they had by a stronger tribe with better weapons who might attack them during the night. In the world of Maori, might was right, so ownership was decided solely by force of arms. It was largely because of pre-1840 insecurity of ownership, that certain smart and far-sighted chiefs came to realize that whatever they had would be better protected by British law, rather than the law of the jungle in which they were living. For the first time in their history, Maori had property rights over their tribal lands as a result of colonization. Against all the many and substantial positives of colonization, it is also necessary to mention any negatives, and these appear only to be tobacco and alcohol. In 2018, Sir Robert Jones, a political commentator, wrote in one of his columns that New Zealand should instead have a Maori Gratitude Day. A day in which Maori could reflect on their good fortune at having been colonized by such a humane, hard-working and prosperous people as the British. So why the hysterical outcry about colonization? Because it's all about money, or to be more precise, it's all about enriching the tribal elite of largely pale-skinned Europeans with only 1/8 or 1/16 Maori blood. So far, more than $3 billion have been taken from the New Zealand taxpayer and handed over to various tribes for alleged historical grievances. The Waitangi Tribunal accepts oral evidence of historical grievances which have been passed down by several generations with an incentive to twist it to suit the claim, much like Chinese whispers, while rejecting written eyewitness accounts at the time. In the words of Sir Apiranangatu in his speech at Waitangi during the centenary celebrations of the treaty in 1940, that is the outstanding fact today, that, but for the seal of sovereignty handed over to Her Majesty and her descendants, I doubt there would be a free Maori race in New Zealand today. Waitangi Day should be renamed Colonization Day. Waitangi Day has been turned into a disgraceful display of Stone Age behavior by privileged Maori, hell-bent in stirring up trouble and living in the past dark ages. Waitangi Day has been turned into a day of exacerbating past negatives, rather than a day of celebrating the wonderful positive benefits that colonization brought to New Zealand, and especially brought to the Maori people. Indeed, there were negatives associated with colonization, but there were considerably more benefits gained from colonization, incredible positive benefits. And this is what New Zealand should be celebrating, not the childish mudslinging and threats of violence that most people have to endure. The true celebration of Waitangi Day has been taken over by activists, hell-bent in destroying the concept of a peaceful New Zealand, a country with one people and one vote. The activists are vocal every day, promoting division, rather than promoting harmony and unity. Who are these activists? The left-bent bribed corrupt mainstream New Zealand media, Te Pāti Maori, elite iwi tribes, the Waitangi Tribunal, and woke university academic departments. These dishonest entities degrade and diminish the lives of true hard-working successful Maori, many of whom today are held in high esteem throughout New Zealand. These destructive organizations should be dismantled and abolished. Waitangi Day should be renamed Colonization Day, and celebrated with music and dancing, with hongies and hugs, not dirt and dildos. Perhaps the activists could instead serve the brave colonist descendants with hangies and refreshments, as a deep sincere sign of gratitude. All New Zealand political parties let Maori down, and by Maori I mean part Maori, as there are no true 100% quantum blood Maori, or anywhere close to that quantum, left in New Zealand. The problem, right across the political divide, is DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which in essence, forces everyone to lie, mislead, and fake reality, in order to achieve political goals. You will hear unrelentingly that Maori health is poor, Maori housing is poor, Maori education is poor, Maori job opportunities are poor, Maori everything is poor, and always far worse than Pākehā, which organizations and politicians with agendas typically blame on colonization. But you rarely hear the truth, so here it is, in a nutshell. Maori lagging behind other ethnicities has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with Pākehā or colonization, both of which have offered fantastic benefits overall to Maori ever since the 1800s. Let's at least get that fact correct, please. The following comments present an easy-to-follow layman's analytical review of why Maori do actually lag behind the achievement of many other, if not all, ethnicities living in New Zealand. The comments, however, have absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with racism. They are simply facts that politicians refuse to discuss because of diversity, equity and inclusion. But they are facts nonetheless that should be explained, so Maori can move forward faster under their own steam, without the need to degrade and humiliate their race with handouts. Sometimes the truth hurts, but telling the truth is better overall in the long term. Politicians, take note please. Maori lag behind other ethnicities because they lag behind in intelligence, hence the saying, you can take people out of the Stone Age, but you can't take the Stone Age out of people. That fact has nothing to do with racism, it's simply the truth. Here are some simple facts to help clarify the truth, and the information is readily available from many sources across the internet, Jordan Peterson being one of those sources. Let's start with a definition. Intelligence is the ability to reason, the ability to solve complex tasks in a given time frame. So now, let's go back in time about 200 years to the 1800s. Relative to today's standardized IQ of a human being of 100, the IQ of a monkey would be approximately 25. The IQ of a Polynesian cannibal would be approximately 55. The IQ of European colonizers would be approximately 85. Without getting too deep into mathematics or statistics, the IQ of a child is roughly half of its parents' IQ combined. If both parents have high IQ, the child's IQ is typically a bit lower, and if both parents have low IQ, the child's IQ is typically a bit higher. For statistical whiz kids, that is known as regression towards the mean. Therefore, if any adult wanted to produce a child with as best an IQ as they could, then they should look for a breeding partner who had an IQ way better than their own, if possible. But that's not how humans behave. Obviously, many other factors are considered when choosing a partner. However, over the past 200 years, many Polynesian cannibals bred with European colonizers, and as a result, the IQ of their offspring slowly started to rise, for the obvious reasons of one of the partners having a much higher IQ on average. Now consider the core leaders of Tea Party Maori. Their ancestry is mostly European colonizer IQ with some past Polynesian cannibal IQ, and therefore they are not as smart as the average full-blooded European offspring, which clearly shows in the way they conduct themselves in Parliament when they choose to attend, and of course, their ability to understand David Seymour's treaty principles bill or Winston Peters' upcoming treaty bill. Thank you for listening. Geraint, on behalf of WhangāreiTim.